Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of PandTha Talks. On this week,
Can we talk real quick? Can we talk about that chuckle you always seem to do just because I say one or something?
Yeah, let's not. We'll avoid that. But yeah, this week we're going to be covering Xbox, an article, about the possibility of Xbox leaving the games industry and how a reader believes that it would be better for everyone.
Wait, for Xbox leaving the games industry, how's that work?
Yeah, I know, right? Then we'll be moving on to Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, cracked and released, or 13 minutes after official release.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Stardew Valley 1.6 update coming soon.
8-player multiplayer.
Yes. Counterstrike 2's may finally been released.
I wonder if it's still as buggy as has been.
Nix's Software have announced that they will be working on Horizon Forbidden West coming 2024. Counter-Strike 2's releases actual in-game count the moment within the couple hours of it releasing. Digital Foundry discussing platforms and more, much more to come. We hope you enjoy.
Yeah, plenty going on this week.
Right. Let's
So
get
what are you
into
going
it.
for us to start with then, Roy?
Oh, to start with, Will. Now that's a
No.
simple.
No. Why do you have to say it like that, man? Why do you gotta say it like that? I already know you're going into something bad. It's gonna be bad
No,
news. It's
no,
always
it's
bad
not.
news with you. It
What it
is.
is it's been a weird week for you and me.
Uh,
That,
that's
that's what I'd like to discuss first and foremost. We've had a bizarre week,
bizarre indeed.
as I'm sure many people will know, because, well, it's due to you people yourselves that we've had a bizarre week. Our
Yeah.
channel suddenly jumped in subscribers
And
and
everything.
videos and comments and everything. It's been crazy, to be honest
It
with you.
has been a wild week and quite the experience to say the least.
100%. And to be honest, we're still trying to get our heads around it in full, but
Absolutely.
all we can really say is thank you to everyone who has watched, commented, liked, subscribed.
The
We
whole
can't thank
shebang,
you all
man.
enough. Yeah, it's absolutely blown us away, honestly, and
Yeah.
we can't thank everyone enough for it.
Yeah. As much confusion as there is, there's an equal amount of appreciation towards everyone who's tuned in, anyone who does still tune in, and anyone else that will tune in the future.
Oh, 100%. But as much as we wanted to say thank you, we do. Me and Will are sort of the mindset that we don't want to change who we are for the camera and for
Yeah.
anything. So we will continue being ourselves, doing what we do. We might adapt format over time. We always do. We adapt things that make work better, but we will always be ourselves on these videos. That will never change.
Sure, man. And I think I speak for us both when we can say we did not expect any of this.
Not
Once
at all.
again, we've mentioned it a couple of times before. Rory literally just messaged me one day. Was like, "Hey, want to start a podcast?" I was like, "I feel like I don't get a choice. Sure, let's go." And we decided there was literally just going to be us two discussing things each week, as we normally would,
Yeah.
without the recording, without a camera. So this had started. That's how we plan to keep it, and we didn't expect anything from it, but we're truly grateful that something has came from it and that it's reached out to a lot of people. And we hope that it's as enjoyable for you guys as it is for us.
Oh, 100%. Don't get me wrong, we have discussed a few times, possibly bringing on a few guests, people we know, that sort of stuff. And we might do so in the future. But that's when we feel prepared and like we're able to do that. Because
Yeah.
adding someone else for discussion, it's good fun. We will have a laugh, we're 100%. But at the moment, we don't really feel like it's needed. We're doing
Yeah,
what we're doing.
we'll see. Maybe for future.
Oh, but with that being said, we'll get on with the topics. I always keep those two tabs up first and foremost. That's the one thing I always have done. Anyways, a reader's feature from fucking Metro. I
I
hate
love
Metro.
the first thing I see is these horrific Xbox designs.
Yeah, what I would actually like to just add Ready Player One. Advertisements on a screen, you can use up to, I think it was 70%, they said, before inducing seizures in these virtual reality headsets. Fucking Metro have got them beat.
My goodness.
I think I've got like, what, 10%?
You've got 2 lines of text to read, and that's it.
Yeah. Xbox leaving the games industry would be better for everyone. Reader's feature. Let's
So
be
yeah, I'm gonna
honest.
take it that this is just a complete random person who's just went on a rant towards Xbox.
Pretty much. Welcome to just everything like this. It happens so often, sadly.
Yeah.
A reader doubts Microsoft's claims that it would never exit the games industry, but admits he wouldn't be upset if it did. Like everyone else, I've not known whether to laugh or cry with all the unintended revelations this week from Microsoft. But I can't help but feel sorry for whatever poor fool managed to leak so many important documents. But finding out that Microsoft's plans for the next decade has been very enlightening. It wasn't the new consoles or Bethesda games lineup that interested me, but me the most, but the various emails from top execs that give an insight into how Microsoft works and thinks. The Nintendo one was very damning in terms of Xbox boss Phil Spencer's image, as it shows him arrogantly claiming to know better than Nintendo and assuming that at some point they'll come round to his way of thinking. That wasn't what I got from it, but okay. Because we did go over these last week, which is why there's like 45 minutes or 50 minutes of us just discussing Xbox leaks.
Once again, that definitely should have just been the topic,
Oh,
but I don't think we expected it to go that deep.
no, I really didn't. But yeah, that was a video in and of itself, to be honest. Thankfully, the other topics were not very large.
And here we are, still spiraling off of it with more topics in regards to it.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it'll probably be the next upcoming few weeks. There'll probably be something said about it.
Oh, guaranteed there will be. It's going to be pretty constant, to be honest. He doesn't come across any better in the transcript, where he's talking about Microsoft's long-term plan and what he'll do if they don't hit their targets for Game Pass subscribers. Petulantly, he says Microsoft will just leave the games industry, which I don't believe for a minute, but I wish it was true. The problem with talking about one console manufacturer over another is that you open yourself up to accusations of fanboyism. And I'll say right away, that the only Xbox console I've ever owned is Xbox 360. But I'm not a particular fan of any of their exclusives. Halo or Gears of War are fine, but I certainly wouldn't buy a new console to play them. I might not be. Sorry, go ahead.
Halo, you don't need a new console. Halo's much older games. A lot of the Gears of Wars, I feel like, are on 360. Is there many, if any, new ones on the later consoles?
Yes, there are.
So, but like Halo, there isn't, except one thing they released, I think.
No, they've been releasing on modern consoles as well.
Have they?
Yeah. You can actually get all of the Halo games and Gears of War games on PC.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure they released the Master Chief Collection.
Correct.
But I feel like a lot of their games, anyway, are definitely like 360.
There was quite a few around that time period, but yeah, Xbox One and Xbox Series X, they have been releasing on other they've been releasing newer games on these devices.
Yeah,
Sorry, it's a bit later in the day than we normally record, and for some reason it's messed with my head a bit, so I'm just tripping over myself.
that's my
Uh,
fault.
it's all good. Um, I might not be predisposed towards Xbox, but I don't. But I do not like to think of myself as a PlayStation fanboy, and find Sony's attitude and lack of communication over the last 12 months to be borderline insulting. We shouldn't have favourites when it comes to soulless corporations, and yet I can't help but feel that Microsoft is much more of a malign influence on the games industry than Sony and Nintendo. I'd have to severely disagree because Sony has been impacting how fucking pricing changes for years. I mean, come on, the £70 bloody price hikes, they came from Forspoken, which was one of Sony's main launch titles for the PS5. It's what everyone was championing.
Yeah,
So,
the prices are crazy at the minute, especially for the quality of games we'd be getting.
mm, no, I'm sorry to admit though, but Microsoft may not be great, but neither is Sony. And in respect to that, you cannot put any of them above the other. They're all equal in what they push to the games industry, and they do it so often. They
I mean, they
actually,
all have their pros and cons. Like
oh,
that's the whole point of like choosing what one you prefer. Because it depends on like what you like and what you don't like about each of them.
oh yeah. They've acted that way right from the start when they gave their first console the codename Midway after the US battle against the Japanese in World War II, and they admitted they were only entering the games industry in order to stop Sony from taking over the living room. Okay, and would you like to have any pushback about what Sony have done in regards to the same thing? But not an issue because as much as you're going to claim that you're not predisposed towards fanboyism, you yourself are a Sony fanboy. You can tell with the way you're writing this.
I thought the only
That
console they had there was a 360.
they had one 360. They had one Xbox console, which was the Xbox
Oh,
360.
only one Xbox console.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That indifference towards gaming itself has, I think, has always been obnoxious. Even though I'm sure there's plenty of people that work for Xbox that do genuinely care about games, as a whole, the Microsoft's approach has always been destructive rather than constructive. Yeah, people have been bitching and moaning about Game Pass, even though that's something that support developers to get extra income so that they can fully build a game of their dreams. I'd say that's constructive.
Uh,
Didn't
that's the problem is because there's no exclusives for them. That's why. Like that's why they didn't like the Xbox 360. They got on, so there was nothing extra on it. They could play everything that was there on PS3, bar Halo and Gears of War.
Yeah,
And they were like, "Oh well, this is pointless. May as well go to PlayStation where I can pay £60 for another game that's an exclusive."
I remember those days back when it were like 40, £50 for a bloody game. Now it's 60, £70. It's fucking mental. The near collapse of the Japanese development community in the Xbox 360 era was not a coincidence, but a result of Microsoft trying to sideline those developers and publishers that were natural Sony allies and trying to push primarily American studios and software technology. Their big push for the Xbox One was TV and digital only, always online gaming. Thankfully, the general public rejected it, but if they hadn't, then Microsoft would have destroyed second-hand sales and made internet connections mandatory every years before it was sensible to do so. It arguably still isn't even now. I'd agree with that point. Making fucking anything mandatory internet only, which is the issue I'm currently having with Payday 3, but we'll get on to that later.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen. You should be able to play your games whether you've got an internet connection or not. Simple.
On the topic of like being online though, that was one advantage that Sony used to have over Microsoft is you were able to play online for free.
Yeah, that was the reason I
Whereas
had a
you
PS3
had
installed.
to, yeah, whereas you had to have like a subscription to Xbox for Xbox Live, which I personally very much disliked. And then they also went down the route with PlayStation 4, where you had to pay to play online, basically.
Yeah, I
And
really
that
dislike that.
that for me just really put consoles into the ground for me when that was a thing.
It did the same for me, mate. It was the reason I moved to PC.
Yeah, like having to pay for the Wi-Fi, the console, all the games, and everything on top of that, and then them forcing you, not making it an option, but actually forcing it on you if you want to play most of your games. And given from this, where they're making it mandatory to play online, you are quite literally being forced
Mm,
to pay for a subscription just to play the games you've already paid for the console that you've already paid for, and they're gonna make you then pay even more on a monthly contract, basically, if you want to continue using it.
yeah,
And that is what
it's
I miss from the older consoles.
same to be honest. And then we get into the current generation and their most destructive efforts so far, buying up publishers for a revoltingly huge amount of money, with a total indifference to the predictable side effects, all the while acting hyper aggressively towards anyone that dare tries to stop them, including sending top execs to bend the ear of the British MPs.
I'm guessing that's them having a dig at Microsoft trying to buy basically everything,
They're trying to buy Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, that would be.
which which currently seems to be like it would be good considering it would give developers opportunities to make other games rather like as we talked about in one of our episodes how it would give Call of Duty devs the opportunity to go and make something different rather than the same thing every year, which is getting very, very tedious and
Yeah,
boring. And like I personally lost interest in Call of Duty a long time ago because it's just the same thing over and over.
same. I only play them for the story now. I
Yeah,
mean,
and they are
you
running
want
out of ideas for that too.
exactly. I was just about to say, you want to know how much they're running out of ideas? Yeah, they've fucking started repeating the same stories they made years ago. They're
Yeah,
remastering them, but recreating the story and everything with it. It's not a
yeah.
remaster. Um, in regards to this though, Sony does the same thing. They buy companies, studios, everything else. If you want proof, put side by side on a web page. You can find it yourself. I did it. I think in like the it would between the first and 10th episode, some point between then.
It's a
I
lot of
pulled.
time to scan through
I
to
know.
find.
That's why I'm struggling to remember. I'll have a look after this episode though, and time and actually link it in the top right. Um, I pulled up both the Xbox sales, sorry, Xbox company purchases and Sony company purchases, and I limited them down just to game information because they're
Wasn't
big
Nintendo
companies.
involved in that as well, or was that the sales?
That's sales.
Yeah.
Um, and basically, if you count them up, Xbox had, I think it was one more purchase than Sony did. They do the same thing.
It's just how the
Simple as
companies
that.
work. They want more publishers, more developers to make more games, for them to make more sales. It's how businesses work.
The bit that annoys me so much is that they had been shouting and screaming for Xbox to actually try and compete with PlayStation. Xbox did what they thought best. Now they're complaining more.
I mean,
Which
Xbox are just
side?
doing what Sony do now, and they're complaining that they're doing that. So
Yeah,
it just doesn't really make sense.
it's good fun, mate. This is despite the fact that Microsoft has got an ongoing problem with poor management that has groundwork to a crawl at several of the smaller developers they already own. Activision Blizzard is in a state already. That's the whole reason they're cheap enough for Microsoft to buy. And the mess of mismanagement they're going to make is so predictable it's almost funny. There were a lot of counters to these arguments, but to my mind, they're easily refuted. Sony would do the same if they had the chance, is a common one. That's true. If they were the world's richest company, they probably would do the same thing. And they would be wrong to, but they're nowhere near that big, and their track record over the last 29 years shows they do not and cannot do the same thing. For their part, history shows Nintendo is even less likely to buy up other companies. Sony have bought other studios. This has been discussed. And that's not even the main argument people make. That's what I find dumb. Anyways, in regards to this, what he said above, poor management within several of the smaller developers. Name one. Give us an example. You can't just say it. You need to give examples. We need possible reasons and understanding of what you're trying to argue. If you don't give it, we're not just expected to go, what? This one? We can't come to you with the answers. You've got to come to us with them. The other argument is that competition is good, which is often used as an excuse to let companies do whatever they want. Even if you accept it's true, I'm sure the gap that Xbox would leave behind would be filled by another company, with Google and Amazon the most likely to try first. Competition is good is the argument that is constantly made by both sides, and Sony fans have been absolutely going all over the shop with it when it comes down to exclusivity on their platforms. Come back to me when you actually fill that argument out. Then you get straight into the argument that Google or Amazon would be worse. Well, maybe they would, and maybe they wouldn't. We don't know how they would act in a world without Xbox, but they're just as rich as Microsoft, more or less, and despite their obvious interest in gaming, they haven't made any purchases that are anywhere near as disruptive. No one has argued that, though. You know yourself, Will, and you can even see at the top of this bar here. I spend a lot of time on Twitter. I have been in a lot of arguments with gamers on all sides of the platforms, including PC gamers. I'll debate with anyone. Argue very little.
What I'm not understanding is why they bought Google or Amazon into it. Like, I don't know about you, I don't play anything through either of those. Not that they have a whole lot to begin with. Like Xbox itself, not Microsoft, but Xbox is like for gaming and games and consoles and etc.
Yeah.
You know, like if Google or Amazon will come in, they will have nowhere near as much experience, resources, anything.
Yeah.
As Xbox do.
He's going under the impression like Google Stadia. Fair enough, I get that. And then Amazon have their own development studio. Have you heard of that MMORPG New World?
It sounds familiar, but I don't think I know anything of it really.
Well, Amazon are the ones that are creating that. That's pretty much the tops and bottoms of that.
Didn't even know, to be honest, Smith.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I can believe it, because they don't have experience in these things. That's not what they do.
No,
so it doesn't really make sense.
Amazon's prior game kind of burnt, so it's good fun.
The only thing that would make sense for them to do is be involved with a gaming company as funding and then get part of the profits back, and that's it. Yep. But like, it doesn't seem right that either them or Google would be actually the developers. Well, not the developers, but like the company behind a game creation.
Yeah, it's not a good plan for them.
No, that's like when PlayStation tried to take it into their own hands to emulate. Was it what game was it that they tried to put on the PC instead of having their companies do it?
Oh,
Life is Strange.
The Last of Us.
Last of Us. That's it. Well, they tried to, when they tried to do it themselves, and look how that went. That's an example of what it would be like if Amazon or Google were to try and do what Xbox do.
I mean, that's the thing though. Nixus create PC games, and they are really good at that. So trying to take a PlayStation game and transfer it to PC. Get Nixers to do it. Don't try and do it yourself. Instead of signing checks for $69 billion, they've instead followed Nintendo and Sony's approach of buying small or medium-sized studios and turning them into exactly what they need, not just buying up huge cornerstones of the industry in one giant purchase. So that's your issue. It's not small or medium-sized, so it's an issue. That just sounds like the equivalent of arguing with someone who comes into a wall with a pistol when you've come in with a machine gun.
Would buying a small industry not be good for said small industry? They'd be giving them an opportunity. They'd be funding them because they've just bought them. They'd be funding them, giving whoever's there the opportunity to work on something much greater than they thought they'd ever be able to.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, how is this a bad thing?
I do apologise. The camera seems to have cut out briefly. And we're back. Sorry for that. Had a technical difficulties to make.
Yeah, a few too many of those seem to happen.
Yeah. But yeah, the major issue really is they're getting upset with Microsoft for buying a larger industry rather than a smaller industry or medium sized. Yet, what they seem to forget is that's the reason that they've got Game Pass, so that they can bring in people who even make indie games, which Sony aren't willing to fund. For the most part, we rarely see them. People have to fund their own. What's wrong with them doing both?
And see, to be honest, with the way this year has been, which we discussed many times with the releases that have come out,
Oh yeah,
indie games seem to be doing better than most of the big names and big companies this
way
year.
too true.
It's not. It's really not been great.
It hasn't. It's been pretty horrific, to be honest. This, as the evidence shows, is the most sensible and sustainable strategy to becoming a big deal in gaming. Whereas Microsoft's bull in a China shop approach is not only needlessly destructive, but also has never been proven to work. Xbox has come dead last 3 generations in a row, and if they were to just quit and give up before the next one, I wouldn't shed a single tear. What evidence?
Well, actually, we have evidence to prove them wrong.
Hmm?
In one of our videos, we went over the sales of consoles
Oh yeah.
between Xbox and PlayStation, and they certainly didn't do worse in 3 generations in a row.
Oh, they were definitely lower than Nintendo and Sony, but that doesn't really matter. They're still doing well overall. Plus, if you wanted
Was the
to,
Xbox
especially now,
One though? Did that not do better than the
no,
PS4? Well, it
no.
was definitely one of them where they did better.
360 was pretty much like the primary one that had the chance, and they came basically just under. But what I will say that a lot of people don't seem to take into account now is that seeing as they also have play PC users on the side of Xbox for the most part due to the compatibility between the machines, I'd have to admit that it is definitely more likely that if they added their PC information to this, it would make a mess of the rankings. But thankfully, we're finally done with that mess of an article. They always try and use big words, don't they, to trip you.
Seems
So
to be the case.
I've got some thankful news, which is most of these are just short articles. Some of them have really good bits, some of them are just amusing little clips. But I like to just jump through them. It adds a bit of something to each episode, I find. It makes you either happy or sad depending on the news, I know.
Yeah.
So Denuvo alerts from @Denuvo Scum, because DRM's terrible. New Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty has been cracked and released by Fairlight 13 minutes after release. Size 74GB, non-Denuvo release. We already knew this because it's CD Projekt Red. They have GOG, which is a non-DRM marketplace. Basically, if I went into my GOG files, I could just send you across a copy, and that would pretty much allow you to launch it.
Huh.
It's just how they work. They're really nice people, to be honest. Really do respect them. Moving swiftly on.
Rory's favorite person, favorite developer. Couldn't be happier with him.
I really respect him. I love the guy. He's great.
I'd wait
But I
for
just
it.
don't think he cares about money.
There it is.
He the amount of stuff he does, he still supports this game even today. I cannot.
I mean, let's be honest. This game may as well be this guy's baby.
It pretty much is.
It's like your firstborn.
I
Come on,
can't spell
Rory.
today.
Come on, Rory.
Here we are. Stardew Valley, 509,312
Wow.
reviews, 98%
98%.
positive. Show me a game.
Sir, there's still 6K recent reviews as well.
Yeah, 97% positive in them.
That's madness.
Like, what has gone?
How long would it take to find a negative review? Oh, yep. Well, that doesn't count. 603,000 reviews. So on the front page, there's nothing negative.
10k to 592. Maybe she can't date mums, couldn't marry Willie. Never been so stressed in my life before.
They were definitely playing solo then.
Not what I was hoping for our game, fair enough. This game is so painfully boring, I don't understand how it is rated overwhelmingly positive. You don't like these kind of games? He's been rated as a jester.
I'm just saying, with only 2 hours in the game, that means they never got to experience pretty much any of the mechanics in the game.
Yeah.
Can't
He's got
marry
some
Krobus. Very cringe and a haram.
Lewis keeps sending me mail asking for naughty feet pics. Not sure if this is a glitch, but it disturbed my gameplay immensely. 500.
Okay, so the negative
hours.
The negative reviews are not negative. That's what I'm seeing here.
Can't cheat on wife with Krobus.
Holy sh! Look at that other negative review on the small side. 1,074 hours.
Playtime on this is very wrong. I think I played for maybe 12 hours or so. Like most farming sims, I found SDV overwhelming, and unfortunately the characters just never interested me. I call bullshit. None of the women like me.
I think you've done that backwards.
Can't result. Oh dear God. Yeah, fair enough. So, anyways, Stardew Valley 1.6.
So essentially, what we learned from this is Stardew Valley is probably one of the best games that has ever been released.
Pretty much.
Even if you don't like these type of games, you would still like Stardew Valley because it's so chill.
Oh, it is. Stardew Valley.
And you're not rushed to do anything either.
Oh no, you can just sit there for hours and nothing at bat an eye.
You know what I'm looking forward to for us to discuss once this update comes out? We should compare speedruns of this game.
Oh dear God, I actually have a website for that as well.
Yeah, from when there was only a max of 4 people. Now imagine with 8 people speedrunning.
Oh, that'd be mental.
Imagine 8 people in the mines.
So, as he's just mentioned, PC support for 8-player multiplayer, new major festival, 2 new mini festivals, new late game content which expands on on each of the skill areas, new items and crafting recipes.
There must be a new biome with that totem.
I'd imagine so.
That's my guess.
New JoJo alternatives to some of the endgame quests, 100+ new lines of dialogues, winter outfits for the villagers, new type of reward for completing billboard requests, new small additions and adjustments, new farm type, new secrets and more. And that's a sneak peek while it's still in development. Mental. Absolutely crazy bloke. So I just wanted to quickly check. Why are you trending? Okay, people are just playing the game. Fair enough. I've pretty much already announced this. Counterstrike 2 is finally available. Hooray! It's out. Which, by the way,
That's going to result in the closure of the first game, isn't it?
Global Offensive is no longer available. It is built in one, and it is complete free to play. But I will say, we looked at this in earlier episodes. The smoke and everything, the mechanics for it, looks stunning. Plays well as well.
They do look like they've really put work into like making things like really realistic.
Let's just say I don't feel like I'm sat playing Half-Life 2 anymore.
I mean, let's be honest though. If you ask a lot of the community, would they honestly say that's a bad thing?
No,
Given how
Half-Life
the
2 is
Half-Life
fucking
series
phenomenal.
went. Yeah.
Nixus Software. Together with Gorilla, we are bringing Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition to PC. Aloy's journey on PC continues early 2024. You can wishlist now on Steam or Epic. And Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition contains both the base game and Burning Shores expansion. It is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition, and they're excited to work together with their friends at Gorilla, and will be sharing more details on the PC version in the months ahead.
Pretty sure a lot of people really enjoyed that game, so to see that coming on the PC is gonna probably blow up quite well.
Well, what surprised me is that, if I remember right, it didn't release too long ago. Yeah, it released last year.
There you are.
And it's already coming over. February 2022 it released, so 2 years to bring a brand new game over.
It's pretty good.
This is a post from one of my friends. In less than an
Wow.
hour of CS2's release, it had over 1 million concurrent players. I wanted to point that out. Also, just to let you know about this friend, she's a bit crazy. She runs a cult in Final Fantasy online. Amusing, but be afraid. Be very afraid. This was an interesting one. Digital Foundry finally admits that PlayStation 5 is better designed than Xbox Series X. PS5 is much cheaper to produce, yet same/higher performance. Sony made a lot of good decisions on how to use the technology, arguably more efficiently than Microsoft. Quite a feat. Now, there's one thing I do realise about this, is that they're quoting only at times where it feels reasonable for them to do so. So I thought, I'm just going to mute this. I'm just going to, we're just going to check quickly through it. Did with PlayStation 5, they made a lot of really good decisions on how to use that AMD technology. Arguably more efficiently than Xbox, right? Because, you know, we've got free, as I said, in D2FX. The other day, small slice of silicon is producing comparable higher performance. Not high performance. Shipping is quite a feat. Yeah, basically just they took a small snippet out of an interview with this person instead of giving the complete view, which I'm not too sure about. I would like to see this in full. Also, the Xbox Series X is $200 more expensive to make. It should wipe the floor with the PS5, not the other way. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's still priced the same, so why are we to complain regarding this? It's
Yeah, like
not
they're
a
not because if
downgrade
it takes $200 more to make one console, yet they're still charging the same price. That just shows that their ethics are far better. They're not in it just for the money.
Yeah. But at the
They
same
will
time,
actually invest into their console.
yeah, at the same time, I suppose they can argue, yeah, PlayStation works better for cheaper. Sure. But at the end of the day, that's between Xbox and PlayStation, not between the fans of the platforms. The reason I've actually got this here is because Tomb Raider, based on the first game that released, is getting a Netflix anime series.
I saw this. I did.
It
I've
looks
watched some of
interesting.
this stuff on Netflix. There's a lot of Resident Evil on it.
Yes, I did know about the Resident Evil side, but I was very surprised when we got to this, especially when it's based on the first game. From the looks of things,
It'll certainly be interesting to see how it goes.
it will be because the story for the first game was really good. I really enjoyed it. By first game, I do mean first recent game.
Well, that just doesn't make sense, Rory.
So basically, they started like a brand new trilogy of games a while back, and they released the first one. I'd say probably 2015, 16, sometime around.
So you're not referring to the very first Tomb Raider where it's all
No.
polygons.
No.
That makes a lot more sense. Although it would make for a fairly entertaining anime.
Oh yeah. Polygon woman trapped her butler in the fucking freezer.
Oh dear.
So this was something that I came across, and I'm not sure whether to believe it or ignore its existence, so I thought we'd cover it just in case. It'll be interesting. FarCry 7 leak, according to @InsiderGamingIG. This person has actually been useful and trustworthy in the past, so I thought I'd give it its fair dues. FarCry 7 will be a new non-linear take on the series, centered around a conspiracy group called Sons of Truth. Sons of Truth kidnap the player's family, and you are tasked with rescuing all members of your family. Game has a 72-hour time limit, 24 hours IRL. Game story ends when you rescue all of your family members. You fail, you must restart it if you run out of time. Some family members can be killed or lost during a playthrough, with the story changing around depending on on the player's actions. 100% is achieved after rescuing all family members and taking down the Sons of Truth. Definitely an interesting concept and a new idea for the series after how badly 6 did and how they've been making basically the same game since Far Cry 3. I think this is a new idea. It's a really interesting prospect for the franchise. I'll be very curious to see how Ubisoft handles this. It would be intriguing.
So what you're telling me is I can't do the first quest, then go and do 700 side quests for the next 3 months of my life, then come back to the storyline because my family would have died 3 months ago.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not sure how I feel about that.
But I mean, 24 hours IRL. How many games have we fucking run through and managed to get it completed and fully done within like about 8 to 10 hours?
Well, I mean, the We Were Here puzzle game, as small as it was, we still like got every achievement within like
the 2-hour time period. We'd have been able
20
to
minutes.
refund. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were there like, cool. We can basically get a refund for this if we wanted.
Can actually tell you how long it took us.
Oh yeah.
Where is it? We have 81 minutes playtime.
Damn. We did
That's
well.
how that's so an hour 20 is what I said, so close enough.
Have you read what's on my screen right now?
Oh shit.
The PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan will retire as of March 2024 after more than 30 years at Sony.
He'll definitely not like be gone. Like a company like that, the job that he has, he'll be retired, but he'll still be around.
Oh yeah. I'm curious what he's going to be going on to after this. So yeah, he's retiring, but we're probably going to still hear from him. But we'll see.
He'll still probably be flipping at the company.
This is something I saved for amusement. Elon Musk is planning to speedrun Diablo 4 on X/Twitter stream tonight. This was on the 28th of September. Opera GX quote tweeted this saying, "He's great at speedrunning. destroying one of the biggest apps in under 1 year.
Did he actually
Yeah,
stream it?
I don't actually know. I never came across it.
Like, what actually happened there? Like, that seems like a total
Oh,
load
it's
of
just the
bullshit.
X is just slowly fucking falling into abyss.
Yeah. It took them
Um,
long enough to like get rid of tweets and Twitter and stuff,
oh,
you know?
I don't know if you've heard, but there's a chance that by like next year you will have to pay to access Twitter, and at that point I will not use it.
No one's gonna use it, dude.
No, it'll just go to shit at
Facebook
that
will
point.
blow back up again.
Yeah.
Everyone, right? Back to Facebook. Did you see the other day Discord went down? Yesterday, actually. Discord went down for a little bit, apparently, in certain parts of the
No.
world. And it basically said you weren't allowed to access it. And I just saw so many TikToks of people being like, well, back to Skype.
Exactly.
I was like, oh no, not again.
Videocars.com posted this. It intrigued me a bit. AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution 3 or FSR3, fucking hell, that's a mouthful to say, to officially launch tomorrow. Now, there's two games that this impacts. As you can see, Forspoken,
Rory's favorite.
yeah, and another one.
What's the
That
other
friend
one?
of mine posted again. Thank you, AMD. I'm sure the 69 players across both Immortals of Averum and Forspoken combined are extremely excited to test out your brand new technology. I'm still mind blown that
God.
FSR3 isn't debuting with a big partner game like Starfield,
Wow.
which she, in my opinion, has nailed. It's a
Jeez.
disgrace of them doing that.
How much does that Immortals game cost, out of curiosity?
You're not asking me to review it. Fuck off.
No, no, no. I just want to know the price. I just want to know the price. 50,
£50.
isn't it? So between two games, it cost £120. They've ended up with 69 players.
Yeah. They actually got pretty decent reviews.
But only 500.
Yeah. I was refusing to say that bit. On that note, I personally won't be testing FSR3 until it comes to a game I own. Starfield and Resident Evil 4 Remastered are prime candidates since they both partnered with AMD. Let's hope they get support soon. An even better game would be Cyberpunk, since I could directly compare, since it could directly compete, I suppose, DLSS 3 to FSR 3. No, take it she actually meant compare.
Have you actually
Competitive.
seen the
Yeah.
requirements for Cyberpunk's ray tracing and stuff?
No, but I am running it
They're
on like high.
they're
If
basically
not ultra.
saying you need to use a 40 series.
I'm not surprised.
And I think there's some settings you can't actually enable unless you have a 40 series.
Ah,
Some are you need a 30 series and some are you need a 40 series.
I'm not
So
surprised.
whatever they've done, it's intense.
Yeah, I mean it does look gorgeous, to be honest. This is the last thing I majorly have until we go into our discussion of Payday afterwards. But I wanted to mention this.
Forgot we're still to do that.
Yeah, I needed to mention this because it kind of irritated me to see it in general. Well, this is crazy to see, but some PlayStation fanatic is begging Sony to implement DRM Denuvo in Horizon Forbidden West, Steam's PC version. He is blaming pirates on the poor sales of Spider-Man. I think he should blame PlayStation for the poor sales due to its almost non-existent marketing campaign. Plus, as we discussed in a prior week, they don't take into account the fact of the people who bought it on PlayStation already and have no reason to rebuy.
Yeah, like it's not like what Horizon could be if they get all the graphics and all can't come over because the environment in Horizon, that game could look unbelievably amazing
Oh, Spider-Man did
if
as
you've
well, mate.
got, but there's not much to look at because you're in a city.
Exactly.
It's
There's all
all
sorts to look at.
buildings. It's all buildings and stuff. There's nothing special. Whereas Horizon's another planet
No, it's
with
Earth.
Oh, it fucking feels like another planet, because isn't there bloody dinosaurs and all on it?
Metal ones, but yeah, it's basically after the
Even
world's
even
fucking gone through the
cooler.
apocalypse.
Exactly, and there's all the forest area and overgrowth and stuff like that.
Honestly, I think the environment and the graphics are the only thing that would bring me to play the game because I'm not a big fan of Horizon's story
Fair enough.
or game in general. I got bored. Same with The Last of Us for me. But we'll read what this mad person's got to say. Please include Denuvo Sony in this game. Look, Marvel Spider-Man Remastered on PC didn't include Denuvo DRM, and it's their biggest and most successful IP. Unfortunately, it didn't sell well on PC. Most of the pirates pirated the game and didn't pay a dime to the developers. I've come across many internet users who would proudly pirate your games. I want this game to sell extremely well, but if you don't include DRM, sales will be lower. Please consider my words, Sony. Thanks. Now, I would like to introduce you, person, to
Person.
what game was it now? There was a game that released, and within a minute of release, it was cracked. And I know this because I bought the game.
Yeah, but you annoyed that you bought it just to find out it was cracked a minute later.
No, actually, I was fine with the purchase. I
No?
wanted to support the developer.
Maybe it was a different game.
It could have been. So, moving on a little. This is going to be this is going to be another big section. I can tell. I feel it. Payday 3. I have never been so disappointed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did not realize it was just this bad.
Yeah, it's gone down bad, man.
Oh
Uh,
man.
Basically, the servers have been very much struggled to keep going. They've barely been up, which has caused massive set of issues. Uh, I do like the new story mode option, um, but overall, they've really made it a fucking letdown. I am very upset with it. What I'm gonna do, actually,
This game is so trash. Pause the review.
where is it? It should be in here. There it
Sorry
is.
for Payday 2.
Lobby
Oh my,
Simulator.
you don't even have 2 hours, Rory.
No,
It's been
and I
that bad,
love
mate.
the Payday franchise.
I know you do. Shall we quickly check how many hours you have in Payday 2 there?
Let's not.
Go on. I'm intrigued.
Probably not as many as you do.
In Payday 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I've not played Payday 2 that much, man. I'll tell you my hours now. There's no way I have more than you.
So, the reason I quite like the system, this is all
Rory,
story.
there's no way I have more hours than you in Payday 2. I only have 100 hours.
Yeah, fair point. I probably have more than.
You
This
definitely
is
will.
how the story works, though. You actually have like an entire thing. It's like a cutscene that you watch before you do
It's
a
like
heist.
a whole movie for you to watch.
Yeah, so you watch a clip, then you go into a mission, then you watch two more clips, another mission. So the
Then one
story's a
at
lot
the
more
end of the mission.
followable, if that makes sense. You can follow them a lot better.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I like that system. But there's just not much to the game yet. It needs more. But the same could have been said for Payday 2. The only difference was back then it had a lot more replayability to it. Which is the reason I'm such a big fan of this game, and 250 hours pretty much.
Is that all?
I know, I'm disappointed in myself. But I really do love this game.
Yeah, you were very passionate about saying that Payday 2 may not stuff angers me.
Yeah.
may not have started great, same as Payday 3's not starting great, but after a bit of time it turned into the great game that it is now, and
Yeah.
it's got very positive reviews, over 400,000. Just
It's
shy of
massive.
overwhelmingly, to be honest.
Yeah.
So like
It's-
they definitely turned it into something great. It's just because it started out bad, you know. I guess they're just following the same path.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's sad, but at the end of the day, I will follow it until the day that they basically come back and go, right, we fixed it.
I will
Come
say
back to us.
some of the issues that have been noted are really impacting it, which shouldn't be
Yes,
issues. But
that is
I
very much
suppose
the
if it
case.
happens, it happens.
It's sad, but it is the case of it. They basically made mistakes, and they really shouldn't have made them after 3 games. Especially
Yeah,
the fact that it
definitely not.
is always online. You cannot play solo offline, which is dumb. And they took
In
away.
fairness, though, as I said, like there's not really anyone anymore these days. It's not online.
Yeah, true.
At
Apart
least they're
from
not
if the
making you
servers go
pay
down.
for it. That's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's helpful to be able to play offline when the servers are fucked.
exactly. But the other issue is that they took away the player to player lobby connection. Now they host them. Otherwise, they
Yeah,
wouldn't have these
that's
issues.
that's one of my favorite things when I play games with my friends. Is just having peer to peer connection.
Oh, yeah,
It makes it easier, and you're not relying on something else that's completely out of your power.
100%.
So like typically when we're playing, we would play on my connection because I have gigabit speed. So
Yeah,
like there's practically never any issues. Whereas if you're relying on a server, all it takes is that server to go down. You don't know how long that's going to be. You don't know how long you've been waiting. You don't know what the issues are, and sometimes it's even hard to tell if it's even if it's you or the server until something's actually announced.
yeah. Just to point something out, by the way, I always thought that Stardew had a lot of reviews.
Wow.
Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which turned to Counter-Strike 2, has received 7.6 million reviews over the years.
I did not realize how many players there were for CS, dude.
Yeah, neither did I. Make CS2 a separate game, I beg of you. I was just getting used to CSGO and you screwed me over by releasing CS2 right there and then. Crying
That-
face.
That's unlucky.
Well, I mean, he was lobotomized, so don't worry about it. Oh dear. But no, that's to be honest, that is actually all I have. It's a really nice and easy day overall. Unless you've got anything extra.
That I can think of.
Not that you can think of.
I was playing Deep Rock Galactic for a bit, if you've ever heard of that.
I have. I've actually got it downloaded on my Xbox launcher.
It's actually quite fun. It's only 3 gig,
Yeah, no, I downloaded it.
which is understandable because it's like all polygon textures, but there's quite a lot to do in that game for there only being 3 gig, which is
Oh,
absurd to think about.
there are some great games though that have very small size, game size, but have so much to do that it's
Yeah.
mental.
It's
I
very,
mean,
very satisfying as well when you get a sand level and you can one hit the walls. So you can just go around digging things. It's very fun.
I would
Until,
just
you
like
know, a swarm of alien arachnids come behind you and start biting your ass.
fair play. I would just like to point out though that Stardew Valley is only 620 meg.
Oh yeah. I mean it's all pixelated, like
Oh yeah, but
do
620
we
megabytes.
do we have a release date of the 1.6 update or is
No,
no.
that's just a sneak peek.
Yeah, it's just a sneak peek, so no release date yet. That's gonna be highly anticipated.
Oh, isn't it just? 170
Honestly.
upvotes, 18 comments already.
Honestly, I can't
Unbelievable.
wait to see how funny 8 player multiplayer is gonna be.
It's gonna be daft. I don't even have 8 friends.
How quickly do
Oh,
you think you could get to level 100 in the desert mine with 8 people in there?
uh, I genuinely don't know, you know.
I do you know about like with like the slam attack on some of the weapons, so you can
Yeah,
spam left click when you activate it to do it multiple times.
yeah.
If he doesn't fix that, imagine 8 players doing that on like the tougher enemies to take a lot of hits.
Everything's dead.
Oh man,
But yeah, I can see it being a very interesting time moving forwards. And hopefully,
absolutely.
it might finally make the bloody year a bit better.
Stardew makes everything better, man. I actually started playing it again there
I
the other
saw.
day.
I
Yeah,
did
me and
see.
Sam and an old friend of mine, Sal, started playing it. The three of us. So we'll be on that every now and then, just to chill out,
This old
have a bit of
friend
fun.
of yours isn't called Home Depot CEO, is he? On
No,
Steam.
no, he's called Sal or
Oh,
Sinner.
that's great. Sorry,
Sinner,
it's
like
just on Steam at the exact point that you and some both put 4.4 hours in. This guy called Home Depot CEO put 3.3 hours in.
oh no. See, with games like Stardew, if the people I start a world with, I will refuse to play it unless everyone is present.
Yeah, I have a similar thing.
Especially for progression wise, like you would lose out on a lot.
Yeah,
And it just I don't know if it were me on the end where like someone else was hosting and they played like a couple of weeks or even seasons ahead, like you would join, you'd be so far behind, it'd be kind of worthless and
yeah.
pointless to continue on with them.
It's the reason I've never continued on with Sons of the Forest.
Mhm. We'll see about that.
Yeah, we have discussed possibly in the future when there's a lot of updates done.
A lot, like
Yeah. Oh, I
a
know.
lot.
But I've been thinking, just to end this off, I thought I'd announce something that I was discussing with you earlier in the week.
Mhm.
Remember I said we'd possibly have to do something like near Christmas time?
Yeah,
I think you and me should put together a list of the best games for the year, and then also a best game list for all time so far. See if any of the newer games have reached that list at all. So we'll both
yeah,
make a list for each of those for like coming up to Christmas time, and we'll go over it during one of the videos. We'll both see what we've got.
sure.
I just think it'd be interesting to see what we put as our top games and worst games of the year.
Hmm.
I know what's
I,
going at the
I know
bottom
what's
of that
going on top
list.
of yours.
I know what's going right at the bottom of that list.
Top of the list for worst games.
Yeah, and bottom of the list for best.
Props to whoever can figure out Roy's worst game of the year. I'm sure you'll never be able to guess it.
Fucking Forspoken.
No, you gave it away. They were never gonna guess that. Now you ruined it. Dear Roy.
But no, if that's everything, then we'll end this episode here.
I think that's us, Roy.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all for watching, and thank you all for your support over the last week. We can't wait to see if people enjoy this episode. If you did, please leave us a comment, a like. We will try and get back to everyone. And yeah, thank you all very much.
Yeah. If you want to get more involved, we do have a Discord that will be linked in the description where there are channels for you to leave any type of comments or images, clips, stuff like that that you might want us to see or even talk about.
Yes, we do have a Discord that's fully functional now. Took us a
Ding.
while. But now, thank you all for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.
Have a good one, guys.